I think we're just going to shut this down because I'm not into all this melodrama and you playing the victim and everything. So core values that they really hold near and dear and not give too much attention to the loudest voice. You truly think it's the love story of the century? Really?
I do, yes. I'm writing a book about it.
Just we're negotiating. Let's talk about what we agree on first, because you know, if you really spend time to do that, you're sometimes surprised at how little you really disagree on.
Dr. Phil's not holding back, and the woke mob's losing it. He just dropped some truth bombs that got him shook, calling out the craziness of falling for internet strangers and saying mom and dad is offensive. Yeah, he went there. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video, but here's the kicker. The cancel culture crowd's coming for him hard. They can't handle the heat, so they're trying to shut him down. Want to see how Dr. Phil's fighting back? Stick around, because this is gonna get wild. You're not gonna believe this, but saying mom and dad is now offensive. Yeah, you heard me right. Some people think it's unfair to gay parents if teachers use those words in school.
Other woman. And when it's being taught in school that, oh, that's just the norm, that it's just mom and dad, it kind of offends us.
What's next? Banning hello because it might hurt the feelings of shy kids? It's getting ridiculous.
We are lesbians, you know what I mean? We come from the community and it makes us feel like we're not important enough to be called mom and mom or parents.
And it's not just family terms that are under attack. Comedians can't even step foot on college campuses anymore without someone slapping a trigger warning on their act. Remember when jokes were just jokes? Now they're called microaggressions or some other fancy word. It's like we forgot how to laugh at ourselves. Dr. Phil's not having any of it. He's saying what we're all thinking. This oversensitivity is messing up our kids big time.
Don't even pay attention to it.
They seem to want to focus on their phones more than listening and learning. So it's frustrating for me sometimes.
Have you seen the stats on teen depression and anxiety lately? They're through the roof. And is it any wonder when we're treating kids like they'll shatter if someone looks at them funny? You know what's really got Dr. Phil fired up about this whole woke culture thing? It's how it's affecting our ability to communicate. He says,
Just we're negotiating. Let's talk about what we agree on first, because you know, if you really spend time to do that, you're sometimes surprised at how little you really disagree on.
We're creating a generation of people who are afraid to speak their minds. And he's not wrong. Everyone's walking on eggshells, scared to death they might offend someone. But here's where it gets really crazy. Schools are turning into hotbeds for this stuff. They're changing their policies left and right to be more inclusive, but it's just causing more division. Kids are being told they can't use certain words or play certain games because it might make someone feel left out. It's like we're bubble wrapping their entire childhood. And you know what? Dr. Phil's not backing down. He's calling out this nonsense for what it is, a threat to free speech and common sense. He's saying what a lot of us are thinking but are too scared to say out loud.
If you say something that they agree with, instead of accepting that you say something they agree with, they want to fight against it because they just want to be right.
Because let's face it, in this climate, speaking your mind can get you canceled faster than you can say politically correct. But hold up, it gets even crazier. Wait till you hear what's happening in some of these schools. It's enough to make your head spin.
He says his Gen Z students are lazy, less motivated, only interested in themselves, and need to socialize more.
Ever felt like you're going crazy in this politically correct world? Well, Dr. Phil's right there with you, but here's the thing. He's not just complaining, he's calling out the madness, and boy, is he making waves. What's got him so fired up? It might surprise you.
Core values that they really hold near and dear and not give too much attention to the loudest voice.
Dr. Phil's not just talking big, he's putting his money where his mouth is with his new book, We've Got Issues. And get this, he's even started his own media network called Merit Street Media. Why? Because someone's gotta stand up to all this woke nonsense. You know how everyone's walking on eggshells these days, scared they might say the wrong thing and get canceled?
This won't withstand challenge. This cancel culture bullshit, cancel culture should be counsel culture.
Not Dr. Phil. He's out there saying what we're all thinking but too chicken to say out loud. And he doesn't give a damn if the cancel culture crowd comes for him. That's some serious guts right there. You won't believe some of the crazy stuff Dr. Phil's seen lately, like people falling head over heels for someone they've never even met in person.
It's the love story of the century, but you've never physically met. You truly think it's the love story of the century? Really?
I do, yes. I'm writing a book about it.
I mean, come on, Dr. Phil's not buying it for a second. He even shut down this girl on his show who was all lovey-dovey with some internet rando. He straight up told her, I think we're just going to shut this down because I'm not into all this melodrama and you playing the victim.
I think we're just going to shut this down because I'm not into all this melodrama and you playing the victim and everything, so.
Brutal, but someone's got to say it. But it's not just about people making dumb relationship choices. Dr. Phil's really worried about how we're raising our kids in this woke world. He says we're teaching our kids mental habits that are making them anxious and depressed.
Any way you can, you're free to do so. But that does not mean that the rest of us have to join that illusion.
The best leaders, we want to be, everybody would agree on that. Everybody would agree we want our children to have a better life than we have. Everybody would agree.
And you know what? The stats back him up. Teen depression and anxiety are through the roof these days. So how's the woke mob trying to change the way we talk? They're coming after everything. Family terms, jokes, you name it. Dr. Phil says family in America is under attack, and he's not wrong. It's like we can't say anything anymore without someone getting offended.
Do that if you're kind of agreeing just with what your side beats the drum on.
But here's the real kicker. Dr. Phil says God wants him to speak out. Yeah, you heard that right. God. He believes it's his divine mission to fight back against all this craziness. He says, I just believe that's what God wants me to do. Love him or hate him, you gotta admit, the man's got conviction. So here's the deal, Dr. Phil's not backing down. He's out there fighting the good fight, trying to bring some sanity back to this crazy world. And you know what? We need more people like him. People who aren't afraid to speak their mind, even when it's not the popular thing to do. Sure, you might not agree with everything Dr. Phil says. Maybe you think he's too harsh sometimes.
If you say something that's offensive to my values, I should counsel with you about it. Not cancel you, not.
You disagree, I disagree with you, and so you call it hate.
But at least he's got the guts to say what he thinks. In a world where everyone's scared of offending someone, that's pretty refreshing. Dr. Phil's new book, We've Got Issues, is his way of pushing back against all this woke nonsense.
This is a weird time to be alive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting weirder too.
He's trying to get people talking about the real problems we're facing. And let's face it, we need that conversation. Because if we keep going down this road, who knows where we'll end up?